Hi, my name is Charles. I work in M&S as an assistant merchandiser, and I graduated from the FRA in 2018.
I'm Molly. I work as an MAA in kidswear, and I graduated at the same time, 2019.
I think for me, it was applying, say, maths a little bit, dealing with products. So my role before, I used to work in shop floor, and I wanted to sort of have a role where there was a transition between the shop floor and head office role.
Yeah, I came straight from uni, so I'd never worked in retail before, but I knew a few people that worked in it, and they just said you love like analytical things like numbers and fashion at the same time, so it's a really nice bridge between the two.
So quite a lot of it is looking at reporting, so looking at performance and how products are done, and making decisions based on that. And you engage with quite a lot of teams and functions, so you have to speak with either buying, garment technology, allocation team. So it's quite a broad role.
Yeah, kind of the same like trading, reports, a lot of talking to outsourcing offices in the different countries as well, which is quite fun to be jumping from like Bangladesh to Sri Lanka quite a lot during the day.
Oh, that's a toughie. I think there's quite a lot of positive things, and it can probably vary from day to day. I think quite a lot of it maybe is, to Molly's point, it's where you can feel like you're making a contribution to the business. And at certain points where either you've bought a product or you've done a range build and you see the product on the shop floor, or you see it online, you see it being sold, and you feel like, actually, I've made that contribution. I was part of it.
Yeah, I like that we're the end stage of it, that everyone can like build the product, develop the product, and the designers and everything. But at the end, we decide like where it goes and where's the best place for it, and ultimately that will have a big impact on if it does well or not.
I think at points that is a challenge. It sometimes can be a positive, and it's a bit stimulating. Is you have to be quite reactive. You have to work at pace, and you have to sort of make sometimes quite difficult decisions, which can have financial implications. Whether it's, to Molly's point, it's actually making that final decision on what the customer's going to get and where it's going to go. So yeah, I think that the hardest part is definitely at pace. I think it's not necessarily distinct. You have to be one person or the other, because it varies greatly based on product area. So for me, I work in homewares, and it's sort of the volume's a little bit slower, and it's a bit more on the product, slightly more. I think I'm answering for Holly, I think it's a bit more volume. I think you have to be relatively adaptable, and I think it comes back to the point where I was saying it's being reactive. You have to be able to maybe work in a slightly pressurised environment. That's probably where, and say, always up for a challenge. And I think in addition to that, it's not being actually too afraid to question things. Molly, how would you sort of define the difference between a buyer and a merchandiser?
I think the buyers are definitely like product, like that's their focus, is product and critical path, and managing that and keeping it on time. We kind of like start to right to the end, whereas I think it's like at some point it's their baby and they just give it to us, I feel like.
Yeah, I think it passes on. I think obviously it's quite, when I highlighted the point, it's quite broad roles, both buying and merchandising, and there's a lot of crossover, so you do share quite a lot, and there's quite a lot of networking within that. I think buying within M&S is a lot more about the product development piece rather than the purchasing bit. That's more sort of within the merchandising remit, so the merchandisers will raise purchase orders. As an example, whereas buying, it's sort of maintaining the critical path, managing of cost prices and retail prices. I think quite a lot of it is the tutors and the quality of the teaching. I think there's quite a lot of them come in with a lot of experience, and I think that's where the FRA is very applied learning, and it's a lot kind can I say relatable, because I think it's where you're dealing with tutors who've had experience working in industry and they can share their experiences. And I think where you can share those experiences or hear those stories, it's a lot easier to sort of translate that from day-to-day work.
Yeah, I definitely recommend going. I think it built my confidence massively, just like outside of the actual learning of merchandising courses, to do with like building your CV, building your confidence, building your presenting skills. It made me much more rounded than just doing merchandising or doing the job. And I took that into my job and really kind of progressed my confidence and things a lot.
I would say definitely yes. I think it was a good opportunity because it was a mixed cohort, so we were dealing with people with different retailers, so there was a networking piece there. It meant actually you could learn all different, say, alternative ways of working, and how sort of businesses vary.
I think it was the other retailers, the fact that there were so many retailers going. It was like, we're probably not going to work here for the rest of our career, the next 20 years. So to kind of work with other people, hear how they work, and know that other retailers like value the FRA, and that you can then take that to another retailer and they see the value added from you being there, instead of just learning the M&S way. You've learned.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's a good opportunity to engage and network with people from either different retailers, different experiences from, say, tutors. Some of it's either from a technical point of view, if they've, whether it's either, and I think actually within reason as well, it's the opportunity to learn about different functions a little bit more. So actually, like for me, my personal favourite was the garment.
The garment tech fabric one.
Yeah, garment and fabric technology, which I think, though you have to learn about that day to day and you deal with it a little bit, I don't think you would have gone to have the opportunity to sort of go to that level of detail, because within reason, when you're coming to work, you have to do your day to day. I think with the FRA, it gives that opportunity and it to have an insight into those sort of areas which you wouldn't have had otherwise.